The scene opens with a sweeping cinematic perspective over the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow but globally critical waterway where nearly one-fifth of the world's oil supply passes every day. The early morning light paints the surface of the sea in soft silver tones, and waves roll gently across the water as if unaware of the strategic significance of the region they cradle. The camera slowly descends toward the horizon, revealing the silhouettes of Iranian patrol boats scattered across the waters like cautious guardians. The atmosphere appears calm, but beneath this calm lies the simmering tension of decades-long geopolitical rivalry. This is where the new Iranian tactic is first quietly unfolding, a tactic no one has fully understood yet, not even the advanced American drones constantly monitoring the region. High above the sea, an MQ-9 Reaper drone glides silently at high altitude, its sensors wide awake, scanning vast stretches of water with machine precision. Its thermal cameras, synthetic aperture radar, and high-resolution optical lenses allow it to identify even the smallest boat, the faintest heat signature, or the slightest abnormal movement. For years, this American drone technology has operated with a sense of superiority and confidence, observing every vessel Iran deploys into the strait. But today, something is different. The drone operators seated thousands of miles away in an airbase begin to notice patterns that do not make sense. The Iranian boats are moving in a synchronized manner that does not match any previous behavior. They appear to be drifting, almost aimlessly, yet their movement is too coordinated to be accidental. Each vessel travels at an identical speed, each one maintaining perfect distance from the next, forming a pattern that resembles a giant, shifting net stretching across a portion of the strait. The operators zoom in further, expecting to find new radar equipment, missile launchers, or unusual armaments mounted on the boats. Instead, they find nothing. The vessels look stripped down, almost too simple. No large antennas, no visible communication gear, nothing that would signal high-tech capability. It is this simplicity that feels suspicious. Advanced tactics usually come with advanced technology, yet these boats look like ordinary civilian fishing vessels. The drone circles, narrowing its surveillance angle, capturing every detail, the chipped paint on the hulls, the nets piled on their decks, the worn-out engines sputtering as they move. Everything looks normal, but the pattern of their formation is undeniably deliberate. The drone's onboard AI highlights their trajectory and flags it as anomalous. Years of data comparison produce no match. In the command center, murmurs begin to rise among analysts. As the scene deepens, the drone attempts to switch sensor modes to gather more precise information. The operators deploy SAR imaging to penetrate the surface of the boats and check for hidden compartments. They switch to thermal mode to detect any unusual heat sources. They even use signals intelligence tools to search for encrypted communications. Each attempt yields nothing. The boats remain silent, technologically ordinary, and visually unremarkable. But still, their movement is unnervingly synchronized, almost like a carefully rehearsed dance across the water. The US analysts begin debating whether this is camouflage or a distraction, or perhaps a setup for something larger. The possibility that Iran has introduced a new tactic, one that does not rely on technology at all, begins to form, although no one wants to declare it yet. Meanwhile, the camera shifts its perspective downward, gliding across the water surface alongside the boats. Iranian crew members are visible, a mix of fishermen, young sailors, and older men with weathered faces. They move casually, performing tasks that appear routine, checking nets, adjusting ropes, scanning the horizon with binoculars. But every few minutes, each boat subtly shifts position in perfect unity with the others. The crew members do not communicate with radios. They use hand gestures, raised flags, and flares, signals that drones do not interpret easily. This primitive method of coordination effectively blinds the sophisticated surveillance system above, which relies on intercepting electronic signals to trace patterns and decode intentions. Then something unexpected happens. The Iranian boats stop moving altogether. They cut their engines at the exact same moment, causing the entire formation to freeze in place. The US operators immediately sense something is wrong. Stopping in the Strait of Hormuz without a mechanical issue is unusual behavior. The analysts zoom in closer, scanning the waters around the stationary boats. The sea surrounding them begins to ripple in a circular rhythm, as if something underwater is causing subtle disturbances. But the drone cannot detect anything beneath the surface because the water's reflective glare and temperature layering distort the thermal readings. Sonar would be needed, but the drone does not possess sonar. Suddenly, the drone's feed glitches for a fraction of a second. At first, The operators think it is a transmission issue. But the glitch repeats, small lines tearing across the display, flickering distortions that seem synchronized with the water disturbances around the vessels. The analysts run diagnostic checks. The drone is functioning perfectly. Then a realization begins to dawn inside the command center. Whatever Iran is doing is not electronic warfare, it is environmental masking. The boats have disrupted the electromagnetic environment by creating heat distortions in the water using low-tech methods the drone's AI has never encountered before. As the temperature around the boats fluctuates, the drone's thermal sensors begin to show blooming patches of heat that resemble the signature of underwater objects. But these signatures move randomly, making it impossible to distinguish real threats from decoys. The analysts suspect Iran may be deploying underwater heat emitters, simple devices powered by batteries or chemical reactions, attached to fishing nets or dropped from the boats. These emitters, though technologically basic, generate enough heat to confuse thermal sensors. The fact that they are underwater makes them even harder to detect. The scene conveys a powerful realization. Iran has found a way to blind the most advanced drone systems using crude, low-cost tools. Back on the water, the Iranian sailors exchange subtle hand signals again. One by one, the boats begin drifting outward, spreading the distortion field like a slowly expanding circle. The drone's view becomes more chaotic. Heat signatures overlap, optical reflections intensify, tracking algorithms fail to lock onto any vessel accurately. The operators watch in frustration as their high-tech system loses its ability to identify targets. It is as if the boats have disappeared into a camouflage made entirely from manipulated nature. The scene heightens its tension when a second American drone enters the region, attempting to map the distortion pattern. Instead of helping, it falls into the same trap. The overlapping distortions from both drones create interference in their shared network mapping, causing each drone's interpretation of the environment to further confuse the other. The analysts attempt to switch to wide-angle scanning, but the distortion field has grown too large. The Strait of Hormuz appears on the screens like a blurred mosaic of heat. In motion, nothing can be distinguished clearly. As the operators scramble to recalibrate, the Iranian boats suddenly restart their engines and disperse in unpredictable directions. The drones attempt to track them, but the distorted sensor data creates false trails everywhere. Some heat signatures look like boats but vanish when zoomed in. Others appear where no vessel exists. The drones chase illusions as the real boats slip away effortlessly. For the first time in years, the American surveillance system becomes practically blind in the region. The emotional tone shifts as the scene approaches its end. The U.S. analysts sit in disbelief, watching the last Iranian boat fade from visual contact. The realization is heavy. Iran has not defeated U.S. drones with advanced weapons or superior technology. It has outsmarted them with human intelligence, environmental manipulation, and the strategic use of low-tech deception. The Strait of Hormuz, once a domain dominated by American surveillance, has become a chessboard where Iran has made the first unexpected move. And the drones, symbols of American power, have just encountered a threat they were never programmed to understand.